Lady Diana's marriage to Prince Charles wasn't a royal fairy tale. She lived in a love triangle and struggled with eating disorders from the very start of her life in the Buckingham Palace. What's worse, Diana knew that Charles was having an affair. How did she confront him about it? How did Diana confront the third person in her marriage? What were the signs that Charles still had a close relationship with Camilla? And how did she ruin their honeymoon? Stay with me to find out what really happened in the Diana-Charles-Camilla love triangle. In the light of her divorce with Prince Charles, Diana was entangled in tabloid lies and was under public scrutiny. So to shed the light on her life in the royal family looked like, and to talk about her side of the story and her part of her husband's affair, Diana recorded a series of audio tapes in May of 1991 and left the information about it to her close friend Dr. James Colthrust, who delivered the recordings to a UK journalist, Andrew Morton. The tapes included Diana's darkest secrets about Charles and Camilla thing, her battle with bulimia and suicidal thoughts. Morton turned Diana's confessions into a book, Diana, Her True Story, in her own words, which was published in 1992. Diana's involvement in the publication was first kept a secret, but was revealed in 1997 after her death. In the tapes, Diana refers to Camilla Parker Bowles as the third person in their marriage. That's not really surprising because throughout their marriage, Prince Charles didn't even try to hide his obvious affection for Camilla. I mean, after all, they were ex-lovers who first had a thing in 1972. So why didn't Charles just marry Camilla instead of ruining Diana's life? She even said that the day of her royal wedding was the worst day of her life. And didn't Camilla seem like a better match for Charles? She was his age, unlike Diana, who was 13 years younger and has always treated him as an equal and not someone she worshipped. But that wasn't enough for the royal family to consider Camilla as Charles' future wife, and they weren't interested in having her as a princess. And why? Well, first of all, Camilla was viewed as an experienced woman. Yeah, they were in the 20th century, but this medieval-like standard was still a thing in the royal family back then. Another thing is that Camilla wasn't perceived as aristocratic enough to be a princess, and that's why she wasn't a suitable candidate for the spouse of the future king. Even though Charles's great uncle, Lord Mountbatten, advised him that it was good that he had a fling, but it absolutely couldn't end in marriage. And soon after that, Charles was called on naval business abroad, and this distanced him and Camilla. Then she reconnected with her former lover, Andrew Parker Bowles, and it's rumored that her father planted a fake Camilla-Andrew engagement notice in the Times. That's how Prince Charles returned home to the news that Camilla and Andrew were engaged. And because of the fake engagement news, Andrew proposed for real. Do you think that if it hadn't happened, Charles might have married Camilla despite his family's objections? So now that this lover was taken and Charles was getting older, he started going on dates with suitable women until he met Diana Spencer in 1980. But all that time, Camilla was still in his heart and even occasionally in his plans. Did you know that at first Diana and Camilla were friends? It's those you keep close that later turn out to be snakes. They met very early on when Diana started dating Charles and was introduced to their circle. She said that she was a threat even though she was a very young girl. Not long after Charles and Diana's engagement, when he went away to Australia, Camilla sent Diana a letter inviting her to lunch to see the ring. As Diana described it, it was very tricky and Diana was then very immature. But then, some incidents that kept repeating started making Diana feel suspicious about a potential secret romance. Apparently, Charles and Camilla had nicknames for each other, Fred and Gladys. The first thing that alarmed the princess was that when her future husband sent Camilla flowers when she was sick with a note to Gladys from Fred, and the 2 weeks before the wedding, Charles had gifted a personalized bracelet to Camilla with a blue disc with G and F on it. And if you think that's bad, then wait for the next thing, because Charles actually wore a gift from Camilla on his and Diana's honeymoon. So after their July wedding in 1981, Prince Charles and Princess Diana had their honeymoon in Gibraltar and sailed on the royal yacht Britannia. And you would think that maybe that amazing 2-week trip would bring the couple closer, but it wasn't as great as everyone would have expected. Well, just like their whole relationship, on the first day of their honeymoon, Diana noticed Charles wearing a pair of cufflinks which had 2 letter C's on them. She immediately knew that it had to be a gift from Camilla, who was Charles's ex-girlfriend, because what other 2 people with their names beginning in C were there? Diana wasn't having any of that and confronted Charles about it. In her tapes, she revealed that once as they were opening their diaries to discuss stuff, out of Charles's diary, there fell out 2 pictures of Camilla. I mean, who carries not 1 but 2 pictures of their ex-girlfriend in their planner? So I'm not surprised that Diana was so done when she noticed the cufflinks on his wrist with 2 C's entwined like the Chanel C. That's why after the divorce, she refused to wear Chanel clothes. Obviously, she immediately asked if Camilla gave it to him, and what was Charles's answer? He confirmed and asked what was wrong with that because they were a gift from a friend. And then Diana said that after that, they had a massive row. That wasn't the only argument the two had over Camilla. Diana also recalled that she once overheard Charles talking to Camilla on the phone while he was in the bath. He said that whatever happened, he would always love Camilla. All that stress caused by the failing marriage massively influenced Diana's health. Lady Di also had an eating disorder, which she developed a week after she and Charles got engaged. In the part of the book based on her tapes, which came out after her death, she revealed the truth about her battle with bulimia. It took nearly 10 years to overcome it. But how did it start? Diana said that her husband put his hand on her waist and said, "Oh, a bit chubby here, aren't we?" And this triggered something in her. And it wasn't only that, but also the Camilla thing. She could barely even function because of it, and her husband's lover would even appear in her dreams. Friends advised Diana to ignore the suspicions of an affair between her husband and his longtime friend, but she felt that she had to confront Camilla. Everyone knew what she was getting herself into while approaching Camilla about the affair. Diana described in the tapes how the whole thing played out. So how did the whole thing look like according to the recording? Diana had approached Camilla when she was chatting with Prince Charles and another friend in a room downstairs. She asked if they could have a moment alone, and Charles started frantically running, asking a friend what was she going to do? What was he so scared of if Camilla was just an old friend? Lady Di actually admitted that she was terrified of Camilla, but she still told her boldly that she wanted her to know that she knew exactly what was going on. Obviously, Camilla tried to avoid the claim and said that she had no idea what Diana was talking about. She said that the princess had everything she could ever want. She had 2 beautiful kids, and all the men in the world were in love with her, so what more would she want? So Diana replied that she wanted her husband. What's weird and kinda sad is that Diana apologized for being in the way of Camilla and Charles, but she was still very angry. That's why she told Camilla not to treat her like an idiot, because she did know what was going on. Diana couldn't sleep the night following the confrontation, and even though she still feels a bit jealous, she also felt a tremendous shift afterward. Lady Di indeed wasn't a fool, because in 1994, Charles publicly admitted to being unfaithful, and in 1996, the couple filed for divorce. The divorce was finalized a year before Diana's accident, and Charles had rekindled his romance with Camilla, who was also recently divorced. According to a royal expert, Charles tried to bring up the subject of Camilla to his sons William and Harry 2 months before their mother died. And how did they react? As you would expect, they were rather cold, especially William. Charles sensed that his older son didn't want to know about it, so he didn't bring it up again. He wanted to be sensitive to his son's feelings and didn't want to anger the public, who absolutely adored the late Diana. As we already know, Prince Charles married Camilla in 2005, but what is the relationship between her and Prince William and Prince Harry like now? After all, they were extremely close to their mother, Princess Diana, and they loved her more than words to this day, and to make sure that her legacy lives on. How do they feel about the woman their father cheated on their mother with and being their stepmother? Apparently, Camilla didn't try to replace Diana, and William and Harry were aware of that. It seems that they get along with Camilla, and apparently they have a great relationship with her. She appears at all the official events like weddings or christenings, and she looks very happy. Do you think this is really how it is? Or is it just for show for the media to stop speculations about their bad relationship? Why did Diana decide to record the tapes talking about her life and then give them to a journalist? It's because she felt so lonely knowing that Charles had a lover, and whenever she tried to talk about it with him or the Queen, she'd always been dismissed. Then she started to realize that if she didn't take action, for the rest of her life, she would be sentenced to living an unhappy and dishonest life. Lady Di's first thought was to pack her bags and run away to Australia with her young sons. But the problem was that she wouldn't have been allowed to keep them there, and people might have considered her behavior irrational and hysterical. And she actually had a fear that the people in the royal family who were against her would have had her classified as mentally ill, and she would have been locked away. So as she had no one to turn to, she finally realized that before whatever she decided to do, she had to tell her story of her life. Otherwise, the public wouldn't understand the reasons behind it. So through her friend, Dr. Colthrust, she started to give snippets of information to the journalist Andrew Morton. And when she saw that she could trust him, they arranged taping sessions where Diana talked about all her experiences, which later made the book Diana, Her True Story in her own words. It really was so brave of Diana to confront Camilla. Do you think she did the right thing? Do you think that William and Harry really get along well with their stepmother Camilla? Let's talk about it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to become part of our Curious Sips family. See ya!